Ladies and gentlemen, every great dream begins with a vision, a spark that ignites in the quiet corners of your imagination. You see yourself achieving, creating, becoming. But the truth is, I'm fascinated. Dreams on their own are nothing more than thoughts waiting for courage. The distance between a dream and its realization is not measured in time, but in action. Fascinated. Action is the bridge that turns what you see in your mind into what you can hold in your hands. A dream is the seed of possibility, a vision of what your life could become. Fascinated. It's the spark that ignites ambition and gives direction to your energy. But the truth is, a dream without action is just a comforting illusion. It feels good to imagine success, to talk about what you want. Picture that a fascinating life you'd live someday, yet until you take action, it remains a blueprint, a design on paper that never becomes a building. Action is the engine that transforms imagination into achievement. And I'm fascinated. It is the moment where you stop thinking and start becoming. Every person has dreamed of something greater at some point in their lives. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't intelligence, luck. I'm fascinated, or talent. It's the willingness to act. You can have the most brilliant idea in the world, but if it stays locked inside your head, it serves no purpose. I'm fascinated. A dream without execution is like a plane without fuel, but it might look capable of flying, but it will never leave the ground. Action is the fuel that lifts your vision from the realm of thought into the world of reality. Fascinated. Taking action means stepping into uncertainty. It means leaving behind the safety of someday and entering the unpredictable terrain of now. Many people hesitate because they think they need perfect timing, perfect resources, fascinated, or perfect confidence before they start. But perfection is a trap. It delays progress indefinitely. The truth is, the first step will never feel comfortable. You might not be ready. You might not have everything figured out. Fascinated. But the courage to move despite uncertainty is what separates dreamers from doers. Each action you take, no matter how small, creates momentum, and that momentum changes everything. Fascinated. There's something powerful that happens when you act. Suddenly, opportunities begin to appear that you never noticed before. You meet people who align with your vision. You learn lessons that thinking alone could never teach you. Fascinated. Action clarifies what's possible. It tests your ideas, reshapes your plans, and strengthens your determination. You begin to see that destiny isn't something that waits for you. It's something you build moment by moment. Fascinated with every decision and every effort. When you act, you also awaken something within your self-belief. You start to realize that your dreams aren't as distant as they once seemed. Each step forward, no matter how small, I'm fascinated, becomes evidence of your ability. You start trusting yourself more, not because you always succeed, but because you keep showing up. Action builds confidence far more effectively than motivation ever will. I'm fascinated. You don't think your way into belief, you act your way into it. Of course, not every action leads directly to success. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you take the wrong path. But even that is progress. Fascinated, because failure teaches what inaction never can. Every misstep refines your direction. Every setback strengthens your resilience. The act of doing transforms you. It molds your character, expands your capacity. Fascinated, and gives meaning to your dream. You start to understand that the real value lies not in reaching the destination, but in who you become along the way. So when you dream of a better life, remember that dreaming is only the beginning. I'm fascinated. You must move. You must build. You must risk. The moment you decide to act, you breathe life into your vision. You give your dream a heartbeat. And from that moment on, it begins to grow. Fascinated. Destiny doesn't belong to those who dream endlessly. It belongs to those who take that dream and turn it into motion. Because in the end, it's not the dream that defines you. It's the courage to act that does. Fascinated. Progress has never been the result of one giant leap. It's the product of countless small, deliberate steps taken day after day. Many people wait for a breakthrough moment. Fascinated, a sign that tells them everything is finally falling into place. But the truth is, progress rarely arrives in dramatic bursts. It hides in the quiet consistency of daily effort. Fascinated, in the repeated choices that seem insignificant in the moment, but accumulate into something extraordinary over time. Destiny is not built overnight. It is constructed through persistence, patience. Fascinated, and the discipline to keep showing up even when results are not immediate. When you take small, consistent actions, you create momentum. Each effort compounds upon the last, forming habits that drive you forward naturally. Fascinated, just as a river carves its path through stone, persistence shapes your future. The river doesn't rush or force its way. It simply flows continuously, patiently, with unwavering direction. Over time, fascinated, that steady movement becomes unstoppable. The same principle applies to success. When you do something every day to move closer to your dream, you become unstoppable too. You may not see change instantly, fascinated, but progress is quietly forming beneath the surface. Consistency is the foundation that supports all achievement. Grand intentions mean nothing without follow through. Fascinated, a dream becomes reality only when you commit to doing the work, especially on the days when motivation disappears. Motivation is fleeting, it rises and falls with emotion. But consistency is steady, reliable, and enduring. Fascinated, the people who reach their destiny are not necessarily the most inspired, but the most disciplined. They understand that each small action matters. They know that even when progress feels invisible, fascinated, growth is happening internally, skills are being built, character is being shaped, and endurance is being developed. Too often, people give up because they underestimate the power of incremental progress. Fascinated, they look at how far they still have to go instead of how far they've come. They mistake slow progress for no progress. But success is like a sunrise. It doesn't happen all at once. Fascinated, it brightens gradually until it lights up everything around you. The key is to trust the process. Every repetition, every effort, every moment of discipline is a brick laid in the foundation of your destiny. Fascinated, it may seem like a small brick today, but when you look back months or years later, you'll see you've built something unshakable. The journey of progress also teaches humility. When you move slowly and deliberately, fascinated, you develop patience and respect for the process of growth. You begin to appreciate the effort behind achievement, and that gratitude keeps you grounded. Fast success often fades because it lacks depth. Steady progress, fascinated, on the other hand, builds character strong enough to sustain success once it arrives. Each step trains you to handle greater challenges, to adapt, and to persist with grace. Even in moments when it feels like you're standing still, fascinated, progress is occurring. The act of staying committed strengthens your mind. The habit of showing up sharpens your skills. The discipline of doing your best each day, even when you don't feel like it, I'm fascinated, builds a mindset that cannot be easily broken. Consistency isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become through doing it. Over time, your daily actions form your identity. Fascinated, you start to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, someone who follows through, someone who turns effort into excellence. And that is where destiny is forged, not in the grand moments of triumph. Fascinated, but in the quiet persistence of the everyday grind. When you learn to value the process more than the outcome, you stop chasing perfection and start embracing progress. You realize that every step forward, no matter how small, is sacred. I'm fascinated. It's proof that you're moving, that you're learning, that you're becoming. In the end, progress built through consistent small steps is the most powerful force of all. Fascinated, because it's not just shaping your dream, it's shaping you into the person capable of living that dream fully. Fear is one of the greatest barriers between people and their dreams. It disguises itself in many forms: doubt, fascinated, hesitation, perfectionism, or procrastination, and convinces us that waiting is safer than moving. But fear feeds on inaction. The more you hesitate, the stronger it grows, whispering reasons why you shouldn't take that first step. Fascinated, the only way to silence it is through movement. Action is the antidote to fear because it replaces uncertainty with experience. The moment you take that first step, fear begins to fade, not because the path becomes easier, fascinated, but because you become stronger. Everyone feels fear when standing at the edge of something new. It's natural to be afraid of failure, judgment, or the unknown. Fascinated. But the difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is simple. Successful people act despite fear. They understand that fear doesn't disappear before action. It disappears because of action. I'm fascinated. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel before you start. It's something you build as you go. Every small step forward creates a little more courage, and over time, that courage becomes your strength. Fear thrives in the mind. Fascinated, but action lives in the world. When you move, you give your focus to something productive instead of to your worries. Your brain can't focus on fear and effort at the same time. Fascinated. So when you act even imperfectly, you shift your energy away from anxiety and toward creation. You start proving to yourself that you're capable, that the limits you imagined were never as solid as they seemed. Fascinated, the act of doing transforms. I can't into maybe I can, and soon into I did. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the right plan, the right mindset, the right circumstances, but that moment rarely comes. Fascinated. Fear always finds another excuse to delay progress. You don't need to eliminate fear before you begin. You just need to decide that your dream matters more than your comfort. Action doesn't require confidence, it creates it. Fascinated. Each decision to move forward teaches you something about the world, about your abilities, and about your resilience. Those lessons turn uncertainty into understanding, and understanding dissolves fear. Fascinated. Think of the first time you did something that once scared you, speaking in public, starting a project, taking a risk. The fear before you began was greater than the reality after you acted. Fascinated. That's because fear exists mostly in anticipation. It imagines the worst outcomes, magnifies them, and convinces you they're inevitable. But once you act, I'm fascinated, your focus shifts from what if to what's next. You stop imagining failure and start learning through experience. Even when things don't go perfectly, you realize that failure isn't fatal. You survive it. You adapt. Fascinated. And with every attempt, fear loses another piece of its hold on you. Action also builds trust, not in others, but in yourself. Every time you do something that scares you and survive it, you strengthen your self-belief. I'm fascinated. You prove to yourself that you can face discomfort and keep moving. That self-trust is the foundation of confidence. It's not about being fearless. It's about having faith that you'll handle whatever comes. Fascinated. Fear shrinks when faced with evidence, and every action you take becomes evidence that you're capable. There will always be fear before big decisions, before bold changes, before steps into the unknown. I'm fascinated. But fear doesn't mean stop. It means go forward with awareness. Let it remind you that you're growing, that you're entering territory that matters. Fear is often a sign that you're on the edge of something important. Fascinated. Use it as fuel, transform its energy into determination. In the end, it's not the absence of fear that shapes your destiny. It's your willingness to act in spite of it. The more you move, the less control fear has over you. I am fascinated. Action transforms fear into strength and strength into progress. Once you learn that movement is your greatest weapon, you'll stop waiting for courage. You'll create it one step at a time. Fascinated. Failure is often seen as the enemy of success, but in truth, it is one of its greatest teachers. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has stumbled, fallen, and struggled along the way. Yet, I'm fascinated. What separates them from the rest is not that they avoided failure, but that they learned from it. Failure is proof that you are trying, that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. I'm fascinated that you are daring to do something that others might only talk about. It means you've chosen to act instead of waiting for the perfect plan. Each mistake is evidence of courage. The courage to pursue something uncertain and fascinated, to risk being wrong, and to keep moving anyway. When you fail, you gain experience that success alone could never teach you. Success often hides lessons because it feels rewarding, but failure forces reflection. It makes you pause, fascinated, analyze, and adjust. It tests your commitment to your dream. If you truly believe in your purpose, failure won't stop you. It will sharpen you. Each setback refines your direction and builds resilience. I'm fascinated. It shows you what doesn't work so that you can focus on what does. In that way, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation upon which success is built. Many people fear failure because they think it defines them. Fascinated. They believe that if they fail, it means they're not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable. But failure doesn't define your identity. It reveals your effort. Fascinated. It shows that you had the courage to take action when others hesitated. Those who never fail are usually those who never try. You cannot grow by playing it safe. Growth requires risk. Fascinated, and risk always comes with the possibility of failure. But the price of playing it safe is far higher than the cost of falling. It's the cost of never knowing what you could have become. Fascinated, every great story of achievement is filled with moments of failure. Inventors, artists, leaders, and entrepreneurs have all faced countless rejections, mistakes, and disappointments before finding success. I'm fascinated. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity. Oprah Winfrey was fired early in her career. These people didn't succeed because they avoided failure. Fascinated, they succeeded because they refused to let failure have the final word. They saw failure not as a wall, but as a doorway, a passage that required persistence, learning, and adaptation. The truth is, fascinated, failure builds strength that success cannot. When everything goes right, you feel good, but you don't necessarily grow. When things fall apart, you're forced to rebuild. You learn to rely on your inner strength, to think creatively, fascinated, and to keep believing in yourself even when the results don't match your effort. That resilience becomes your greatest asset. It gives you endurance, the kind of determination that doesn't fade when faced with challenges. I'm fascinated. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that mastery takes time, that growth is a process, and that no one becomes great overnight. It humbles your ego, but strengthens your character. Fascinated. It helps you appreciate the victories that come later because you know how much they cost. When you understand this, fascinated, failure stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like a mentor, a tough but honest teacher that shapes you into the person capable of achieving your destiny. So when you fail, don't retreat. Reflect. Ask what went wrong. Fascinated, what you can do better and how you can use that experience to improve. Every failure carries a lesson, but only those who stay in the fight long enough learn it. The people who ultimately reach success are not the ones who never fall. Fascinated, but the ones who rise again, stronger and wiser each time. Failure is not the end of the journey, it's a necessary part of it. It's the test that separates those who dream from those who act. I'm fascinated, and those who act from those who endure. And in the end, it's endurance that turns action into destiny. Discipline is the quiet force behind every great success story. While motivation may inspire you to start, fascinated, it's discipline that keeps you moving when the excitement fades. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls with your mood, your energy, or your circumstances. But discipline is a decision, fascinated, a commitment that stands firm no matter how you feel. It's waking up early when you want to sleep in, practicing when no one is watching, and pushing through discomfort because your purpose matters more than your comfort. I'm fascinated. Discipline is what transforms potential into power. It bridges the gap between what you want and what you achieve. Every person begins their journey with a spark of motivation. Fascinated. It feels powerful at first, a surge of energy that pushes you to take action. But soon that energy fades, the routine becomes tiring, the challenges grow harder, and progress slows. This is where most people quit. Fascinated. They believe they've lost passion or that the goal wasn't meant for them. In reality, they didn't lose the dream, they lost consistency. They relied on emotion instead of discipline. The truth is, I'm fascinated. Greatness doesn't come from bursts of inspiration. It comes from the daily decision to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline means keeping promises to yourself. I'm fascinated. It's the ability to act according to your values, not your moods. When you practice discipline, you take control of your future because you stop letting temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. I'm fascinated. You begin to understand that progress doesn't depend on how motivated you are, but on how committed you remain. The most successful people aren't always the most talented or passionate. They're simply the most disciplined. Fascinated. They show up every day, do the work, and trust the process. Over time, that consistency compounds into excellence. Discipline is also what builds self-respect. Each time you follow through on your commitments, fascinated, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You start seeing yourself as reliable, focused, and capable. That inner trust becomes the foundation of confidence. On the other hand, when you constantly break promises to yourself, fascinated, you lose confidence, not because you've failed, but because you've stopped believing you can depend on your own word. Discipline repairs that relationship. It proves that your dreams matter enough to fight for them daily. Fascinated, even when no one else believes in them. Yet there's a powerful shift that happens when you start valuing discipline more than motivation. You stop chasing feelings and start building habits. Fascinated. You begin to see that progress isn't always visible. It's often happening beneath the surface, in the moments of effort no one else sees. A writer improves by writing every day, even on uninspired mornings. I'm fascinated. An athlete strengthens through each painful repetition. An entrepreneur grows by facing rejection and still showing up tomorrow. The consistency of disciplined action is what turns effort into excellence and vision into reality. Fascinated. Discipline also teaches resilience. When you make it a habit to act regardless of emotion, you develop mental toughness. You stop being controlled by obstacles or setbacks because you've trained yourself to persist. Fascinated. Life will test you through failures and moments of doubt, but discipline gives you the strength to keep moving forward. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. Fascinated. But it's what separates temporary success from lasting greatness. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. In the end, discipline becomes your greatest freedom. It frees you from the limits of mood, fascinated, the distractions of comfort, and the paralysis of procrastination. It gives you control over your destiny because it turns dreams into systems and vision into action. While motivation gets you started, discipline gets you there. Fascinated. It is the difference between wishing for change and creating it. Every act of discipline, no matter how small, adds up over time, shaping your habits, your character, and ultimately your life. Fascinated. That's how discipline transforms potential into power. It doesn't just help you reach your goals, it makes you the kind of person who achieves them again and again. Your legacy is not written in your dreams, your plans, fascinated, or your promises. It is written in your actions. The world remembers what you do, not what you intended to do. Every day, with every choice, you're writing the story of your life. Whether you realize it or not, fascinated, your actions are leaving a mark. You can spend your days talking about what you'll achieve someday, or you can start building it today. Destiny doesn't wait for plans, it responds to effort. I'm fascinated. What truly defines you is not what you hope to become, but what you consistently do to become it. Many people live with beautiful ideas trapped inside them, dreams of success, change. I'm fascinated, and impact, but they never bring those ideas to life. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right feeling. But life doesn't reward good intentions, it rewards execution. I'm fascinated. The people who change the world aren't necessarily the ones with the best ideas, they're the ones who act on them. Every action, no matter how small, moves you closer to the person you're meant to be. Every day you choose to act fascinated, you're carving your name into the timeline of the world. Actions are the language of commitment. Words can inspire, but actions prove what you believe. You can talk about discipline, growth, and purpose, fascinated, but until your actions align with your words, they remain empty. The gap between saying and doing is where most dreams disappear. Destiny doesn't unfold in speeches or intentions. It unfolds in the quiet consistency of your effort. Fascinated, the moments when you do the work that no one sees, the decisions you make when no one's watching, the sacrifices you make for something bigger than comfort. These are the chapters of your legacy. Time passes whether you act or not. I'm fascinated. The question is, what will you have to show for it? Every day that you delay action, a piece of your dream fades. But every day you take a step forward, you give your dream new life. I'm fascinated. The most powerful aren't necessarily those who started with everything. They're the ones who refused to waste the time they were given. They acted when others hesitated. They kept going when others gave up. Fascinated. They built their legacy one decision at a time, knowing that consistency matters more than speed. Your destiny is shaped by what you repeatedly do. I'm fascinated. You don't become successful in a single moment. You become successful through daily habits that shape your character. Every small effort compounds. The way you handle challenges, the way you treat people, fascinated. The way you show up when things get hard, all of it becomes part of how people remember you. A person's true legacy isn't built on one grand accomplishment, but on a lifetime of choices that reflect who they are. Fascinated. The impact you leave behind is the sum of your actions, not your intentions. What's remarkable is that you don't need to know exactly where the road leads to start building your legacy. You just need to take the next right step. Fascinated. Action gives clarity. Each effort teaches you something new, guiding you closer to your purpose. Waiting for certainty only leads to regret. Acting with intention leads to discovery. And even when the results take time, I'm fascinated, you'll find fulfillment in knowing that you lived with purpose, that you didn't just wish for a better story, you wrote one through your actions. In the end, fascinated, no one will remember the plans you never began or the dreams you never pursued. They will remember how you lived, how you showed up, how you loved, how you worked, how you overcame. Your actions will speak long after you're gone. I'm fascinated, echoing through the lives you've touched and the difference you've made. Legacy is not about perfection or fame, it's about authenticity and persistence. Every act of courage, every moment of kindness, I'm fascinated. Every time you choose effort over ease, you're building something that lasts. Your destiny isn't found in the things you meant to do, it's found in what you actually did. The pen is in your hand. Write it well, one imperfection at a time. In life, dreams remain fragile unless they are paired with decisive action. Action is the force that transforms ideas into reality, turning ambition into tangible results. Every step you take, no matter how small, fascinated, builds momentum, strengthens resilience, and teaches lessons that no amount of planning can provide. Fear, failure, and doubt are inevitable, but they lose their power when met with persistent effort and disciplined choices. I'm fascinated. Consistency and courage compound over time, shaping not only achievements but also character. Ultimately, destiny is not handed to those who wait or merely wish. It is forged by those who act with purpose, embrace challenges, fascinated, and rise after every setback. Your legacy, your impact, and your success are the direct outcomes of what you do, not what you imagine. By acting today, you take the first step toward turning your dreams into your destiny.